Okay, welcome to the September 6th council meeting. If you'd please stand, Councilperson Comstock is going to lead us in the flag salute this evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in saluting our nation's flag. Ready, begin.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Karen. Okay, we have quite a few ceremonials this evening. So our first proclamation is National Preparedness Month, September 2022. I'd like to call up Denise School, Emergency Services Coordinator with the City of Chino. Yes, yes.
I'd like to invite our CERT volunteers.
I'll have you introduce them. I don't bite, you can move over, it's okay. And the proclamation reads, whereas National Preparedness Month creates an opportunity for every American to learn more about ways to prepare for all types of emergencies, from potential terrorist attacks to natural disasters. The Federal Emergency Management Agency has announced the 2022 National Preparedness Month theme of, quote, a lasting legacy, unquote. And whereas the Chino Police Department, in partnership with the Chino Valley Fire District, established a Community Emergency Response Team, or CERT, program focused on training community members in basic disaster response skills such as team organization, disaster medical operations, fire safety, and lightened search and rescue that first responders can rely on during a disaster situation. And whereas all citizens have a responsibility to contribute to their own safety and security as a part of a larger effort to strengthen the ability of the City of Chino community to mitigate, prepare, response, and to recover from unexpected emergencies and disasters as part of a broader campaign of national preparedness. All Chino residents and businesses are encouraged to register for Chino Notify, the city's mass notification system that provides both emergency and community alert information that can be sent to any electronic device. And whereas the federal, state, local governments, and private sector are working together to prevent and respond to all types of emergencies, these activities, along with a vigilant public, contribute to a level of state and national preparedness that's critical to securing our state and homeland. And now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Eunice Emiloa, Mayor of the City of Chino, do hereby proclaim the month of September to be National Preparedness Month, and that the City of Chino will continue to participate in its efforts that ensure we have an integrated disaster response capability so all city and county emergency responders and the general public can work together effectively. Would you like to say a few words?
All right, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Have with us our some of our graduates from our first ever Community Emergency Response Team training. So we have Sally, Bob, Don, and Hung. And they spent a whole weekend with us to learn some basic skills and be better prepared to help our community in the event of a major disaster. So if you see anyone in these lovely green vests and helmets, you know that they are trained and here to help.
Terrific, terrific. Would you, any of you like to say anything about the program?
I'm not scared. I think everybody, if you have a chance, and I know everybody can't do it, but our community does need volunteers to help in a disaster. Hopefully, we will never, ever be called. But if we are, those of us that are prepared can help everybody else in the community. And I know there's one coming up in October, I believe. So sign up, go on to the City of Chino website and sign up. It's a 2.5-day course. It's not that hard, and you will learn some skills that are very valuable for yourself and your family and the community.
Here's your proclamation. Well, I want to thank you for going through the training. I know it's very, very important. And one of the things that makes Chino so special is that we have so many people that are involved in our community. I mean, even with the fire department's training, I mean, there's been a big turnout of people that have participated in that training. And it makes a difference in our community. More lives are saved, I believe, in our community than probably any others around our county. So thank you very much for being here. And she wants a picture. Again, thank you very much. Next is National Childhood Obesity Awareness Month, which is also September. I'd like to call up Brittany Zarkal, Healthy Chino Coordinator with our community. Brittany. And the proclamation reads, whereas September 2022 marks the 12th annual National Childhood Obesity Awareness Month. The City of Chino, along with its community partners, Chino Valley Unified School District, Chino Valley YMCA, and Focus on Youth Collaborative, work to prioritize the health and well-being of Chino's children by supporting programs such as Healthy Chino Kids, Healthy Family Day, Tykes Fun and Fit, and Chino Valley Unified School District Health Center. The City of Chino works in conjunction with youth sports leagues to provide space for physical activities and team sports for children in our community. The percentage of children with obesity in the United States has more than tripled since the 1970s. And today, about 1 in 5 school-aged children between 6 and 19 has obesity. Whereas obese children have an 80% chance of being obese adults and are more at risk for associated adult chronic diseases, including high blood pressure, heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and stroke. Obesity prevalence is 12.7% among 2 to 5-year-olds, 20.7% among 6 to 11-year-olds, and 22.2% among 12 to 19-year-olds. Whereas proper nutrition is important for youth as it impacts their physical and mental health, body weight, and it's important in the prevention of chronic diseases. Childhood obesity is preventable, yet it does not appear to be declining. Now, therefore, I, Eunice Emiloa, Mayor of the City of Chino, do hereby proclaim the month of September 22, 2022 as National Childhood Obesity Awareness Month and urge all residents to take advantage of the programs and services that are available in the City of Chino. Brittany?
Thank you for this proclamation, Mayor Eula. The Healthy Chino program strives to educate children and their families on the benefits of healthy activities, including nutrition and physical activity. We have a Healthy Chino Kids program that we implement at all after-school programs that teaches families about the benefits of healthy eating, as well as to teach children about fun activities they can do outdoors to keep themselves fit. We also host monthly free workshops at our Chino Community Garden where participants are taught about healthy eating and the benefits of growing their own fresh produce, as well as our Healthy Family Day event where we partner with the Chino Valley YMCA to provide health resources for families so they can become healthy heroes. So thank you for this opportunity, and Healthy Chino program continues to work towards lowering childhood obesity and creating a healthy community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brittany. Okay, next, Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, also September. I'd like to call up Anna Lizeth, I always say that wrong, I apologize, Ordonez, Community Services Supervisor, and Aaron Zamora, Community Crisis Response Team Program Manager with the San Bernardino County Department of Behavioral Health. Your name's as hard as mine. Whereas on behalf of the citizens of Chino, we recognize the month of September 2022 as Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, shedding light on those suffering with depression or other mental or behavioral health issues. The health and well-being of all citizens is of the utmost importance. The City of Chino, San Bernardino County Department of Behavioral Health, and Chino Valley Unified School District recognize suicide as a human tragedy that transcends socioeconomic status, age, gender, and ethnicity. And whereas suicide is the leading cause of death in the United States, claiming the lives of almost 46,000 in 2020, the second leading cause of death for ages 10 to 14 and 25 to 34, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Whereas suicide has an everlasting impact on the survivors who are left to process the loss of their loved one and who are at the increased risk of suicide themselves. Suicide is preventable through increased knowledge about warning signs, timely intervention, and by limiting access to lethal means for those at risk. And whereas suicide prevention efforts should be developed and encouraged to the maximum extent possible, and the City of Chino offers mental health services to youth, adults, and families. Now, therefore, I, Eunice Emuloa, Mayor of the City of Chino, do hereby proclaim September 2022 as Suicide Prevention Awareness Month in the City of Chino, and urge all citizens to continue to work to prevent suicide and to take action, know the signs, reach out, and know there is help and hope.
Thank you, Mayor Eula and members of the council for acknowledging the importance of this proclamation. Here at Chino Human Services, we offer low-cost counseling services to individuals, families, and couples. We also partner with the Chino Valley Unified School District and the City of Chino Hills to provide free school-based counseling services to students that are in need of support. During this month, we want to remind our community to keep an eye on those that you know or believe are suffering from depression and encourage you to reach out to them and offer support. But if you or anyone you know are having suicidal thoughts, you can contact the County San Bernardino Crisis Response Team at 909-458-1517, where they can come in and conduct an evaluation. But if it's an emergency, call 911. Joining me today is Erin Zamora she's program manager with the Community Crisis Response Team, and she will be accepting this proclamation.
Thank you, Mayor and the City of Chino, for recognizing the Department of Behavioral Health and the Community Crisis Response Teams, and also for bringing awareness to Suicide Prevention Month. It's super important, as many people are affected by suicide, to bring awareness and to also bring knowledge of resources that are available. So anyone in San Bernardino County can reach our access line, which is 24 hours, or you could also contact 988, which will link you directly to a therapist through the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. Our community crisis response teams are available 7 days a week from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., and we could provide in-field support for those who are experiencing a mental health crisis. DBH also provides education for suicide prevention and knowing the signs, as well as a myriad of other urgent healthcare responses. So thank you again for bringing awareness to Suicide Prevention Month, and thank you for this honor.
Yes, please, if you know anyone that's in any kind of crisis, please reach out. I mean, we often find out after the fact when someone has had some problems, and it's just so preventable. It can happen to anyone. Okay, Business of the Month Award, July 2022. Now, we're a bit behind because we were dark in July, so. When this applicant applied to be considered for this award, they highlighted Chino's business-friendly community, growing number of businesses and large industrial spaces. As an added benefit, the city is centrally located with easy access to freeways and to the port. All of these factors make Chino a great place to do business. But for this company in particular, that is why they chose to invest in Chino. For the month of July, we would like to recognize NFI Industries as our business of the month. I'd like to call up Brian Webb. If you'd please join me. He's a representative for NFI. Hi, Brian. NFI is a family-owned and operated third-party logistics company committed to providing the best in supply chain support for the businesses of all sizes and varieties. Through organic and acquired growth, NFI has diversified into multiple service offerings, including dedicated transportation, distribution, brokerage, transportation management, port drayage, intermodal global logistics, and real estate. NFI is a proven partner to the community and continuously gives back and supports several local nonprofits that align with their core value of social responsibility. One example of this was a recent backpack drive NFI hosted for the Let It Be Foundation, a Chino-based nonprofit. The backpacks and school supplies they collected are given to families of children diagnosed with cancer and other life-threatening illnesses. As a member of the Chino Valley Chamber of Commerce, NFI prioritizes fellow members as preferred vendors for all purchasing needs. Let's congratulate NFI providing quality logistics and distribution services to our community and for being our July 2022 Business of the Month recipient.
Thank you very much. NFI has been in Chino for around 20 years now. It's been very good to us, and we hope to be here for a very long time.
Well, you're very good to the community. They've also helped with several nonprofits. I know Isaiah's Rock, you've given quite a bit of help too in their quest to feed the poor. And so thank you very much for everything that NFI has done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Next, Business of the Month, August 2022. Chino loves its hometown restaurants, and community members are always on the lookout for a new sit-down location in the city. Despite opening at the beginning of the pandemic, this restaurant has persevered and become a place to be for special events or just a date night in Chino. For the month of August, we would like to recognize Casa Diaz Sabor of Mexico as our Business of the Month. I'd like to call up let's see, our owner Ruben Diaz. Will you please join me up in front? Oops, this doesn't look like a Ruben. Ruby. Oh, Ruby. I'm sorry, Ruby. Ruby, not Ruben. Oh my gosh. Casa Diaz is a family-owned restaurant specializing in homemade food from Guadalajara, Mexico. The delicious flavors for each dish can be traced back to the recipes they inherited from their mother. Casa Diaz opened just 1 month before the start of the pandemic. They worked hard to stay open for takeout for our community and kept their food, quality, and customer service a priority. Due to their hard work and persistence, they managed to not only stay open, but grow their enterprise into a successful full-service restaurant. Family-owned Casa Diaz works with Think and local fundraisers to give back to their community just as the community supported them through the pandemic. Casa Diaz frequently hosts events, birthday parties, business meetings, city meetups, graduations, and school fundraisers at the restaurant. When it comes to quality ingredients, they source local companies to deliver fresh vegetables and meats. They dedicate themselves to providing a fun, upbeat, and bright atmosphere for the city of Chino to enjoy. Please join me in congratulating Casa Diaz for bringing a taste of Guadalajara to Chino and for being our August 2022 Business Month.
I just wanted to say thank you to the City of Chino for your very, very strong support since we opened in 2020. We're very happy to be new and part of the community, and you guys have shown us a lot of support, and we look forward to the years to come to grow and and keep being, you know, a fun place for all families, and whether it's a birthday party, a family night, a date night, we're here. We got you guys covered with food and drinks. So thank you so much. Oh, yeah. We are in Chino off Euclid and Schaefer at 7041 Schaefer Avenue, Suites A through D now. So we will be opening our expanded side with another bar late this month or early next month. So come stop by and join us. Thank you.
They have really good food. If you haven't been there, you need to go visit them. Okay, one more, Business of the Month, September 2022. It takes different types of businesses to address the needs of a community, from restaurants to dry cleaners to home repair. Many of these businesses are underappreciated until a need arises. One of these often overlooked service providers are roofing companies. For the month of September, we would like to recognize Shell Roofing Solutions Group as our Business of the Month, and then I'd like to ask CEO Rudy Gutierrez to please join me up front. Rudy? Hi, how are you? I'm good. In addition to performing new roof construction, re-roofing, roof restoration, Shell specializes in energy-efficient roofing systems. Shell Roofing Solutions not only provides a great product with excellent service, but is honored to give back and help others in times of need. Every year, Shell donates 3 to 4 roofing projects to nonprofit organizations. Locally, Shell has provided roofs for Paws for Success, Ronald McDonald House Charities, Orange County Rescue Mission, law enforcement, military veterans, and other individuals in our community. Within the city of Chino, Shell has been intentional about using local vendors. They're longtime clients of MK Smith and use fresh cut foods for all their client events. Shell chooses to use Chino Auto for vehicle repairs, Tradestone Insurance, Chino Commercial Bank, and Rodell and Associates. Shell Roofing Solutions are city partners and consulted the city of Chino for guidance on the founding of their company to ensure that they met all the city requirements when they first opened their business. We're proud to have Shell Roofing Solutions as part of our business community. Please join me in congratulating them for providing quality roofs, giving back to the community, and for being our September 2022 Business of the Month.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. I'd like to get the Shell Roofing team up here. You know, they're the ones that own all of it. Yeah. And one of the cool charities that we donate to is here today as well. Dave Harrison, come up here. Pause for Success. Well, thank you for this recognition. You know, you've been great support to Shell Roofing always, and the City Council. Christopher Kennedy as well with economic business development. Nicholas, wherever you are, thank you. And to our great Chief Simmons and our former Chief Comstock. So thank you for the support of Shell Roofing. We're so honored to be recognized as Business of the Month, but obviously it takes all these really cool people next to me to get it done. Here's my partner and Vice President and COO of Shell Roofing.
Thank you. I'd like to thank City Council, Mayor, staff for your continuous support, the Police Department, and the Fire Department. Can't wait to start those barbecues up again. Once again, just thank you for all the support you contribute to Shell Roofing.
Well, I was able to go to a home that you provided a free roof to. I think it was about a year and a half, 2 years ago. Yeah, a veteran.
Yes.
The family was really touched. It helped them. They couldn't afford a new roof. And Shell Roofing came in and replaced it for him, and it just meant the world to the family. Yeah, the Rodriguez family. That was really, really nice, and I was able to be there for the dedication.
Thank you for your support. We got support from the city. We got the job done very quickly.
Yes.
And,
Yes, very professional.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And she wants a picture.
Yeah.
Put everybody in. Come on in. Did she put them all?
Awesome.
Thank you, you guys. You did
so
such
much.
a good job.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
We got a few more roofs coming.
I know you do. Well, you always do. Thank you very much. Now we have the Mayor's Home Beautification Award for September 2022. I'd like to call up Cheng Tung and Wendy Yu, or Wen Yu, Lu. I'm not doing well with names tonight. Are you here? Here they come. Maybe? Are they here? Apparently, they are not here this evening. So we will get them their certificate of beautification award, as well as, let's see, we'll go ahead and show the picture on the screen of their home. Very, very well kept. We have a yard sign, lapel pins, pen and pencil, and we'll get all that to them. Okay, thank you for being patient for all of our ceremonials. We had quite a few to get through this evening. Let's see now. Okay, I'd like to ask our attorney to give us a report out of closed session that was held prior to the beginning of this meeting.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council, and all those present. The City Council met in closed session to discuss 2 items on the closed session portion of the agenda, beginning with item 1, conference with real property negotiator concerning the property at 12931, 12921, and 12923 Central Avenue, with the negotiating party being Chong Soo Yi and Randy K. Yi. Under negotiation is price in terms of potential acquisition. Following a discussion, the council provided direction and no further reportable action was taken. And item number 2, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation. The city council spoke about the matter of Chino Basin Municipal Water District versus City of Chino, and received an update from the litigation counsel, Jimmy Gutierrez. And following that discussion, no further reportable action was taken. And as previously announced, the council did not hold any discussion on item number 3, listed on the closed session portion of the agenda. That concludes the report out of closed session, Mayor.
Okay, thank you very much, Fred. Linda, do we have any agenda revisions or additions?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We'd like to pull item 21 for a report from our Public Works Director, Amar Jacker.
Okay, anything else?
No, that's it.
Any other changes? No? Okay. Under public announcements, this is the time and the place to inform the public of all upcoming events and past occurrences. Household hazardous waste. First, I'd like to welcome everyone back to the Chino City Council meetings and hope you all enjoyed your Labor Day weekend. For the month of September, on Saturday, September 10th and the 24th, the city will be holding another installment of its household hazardous waste drop-off program at the Public Works Services Yard located at 5050 Schaefer Avenue from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. This event is for Chino residents and provides our community the chance to safely dispose of products containing chemicals, including but not limited to electronic waste, household generated motor oil and oil filters, antifreeze and gasoline, auto and household batteries, tires on and off the rim. For any questions, please call 909-334-3472. Teen events. Also, for all of our parents out there who have teenagers at home, please make sure you check out some of our fun events happening this upcoming month in our teen program. These events include the Art of Expression on Wednesday, September 14th from 4 to 6 p.m., A fun evening with your friends at the Teen Center so you can create your own art masterpiece with step-by-step instructions. Unplug Outdoor Challenges on Monday, September 26th from 4 to 6 p.m., a chance to disconnect from the virtual world and enjoy competitive games. Career Workshop on Tuesday, September 27th from 4:30 to 5:30 p.m. This offers a chance to learn important career-building skills like how to create a compelling resume and strategies to be successful in work and school. All events are at the Chino Teen Center located at 13196 Monte Vista Avenue. For all questions, please call 909-334-3260. And lastly, we sadly will be adjourning in memories of former Chief of Police Patrick Conley and former San Bernardino County Assessor Recorder Bob Dutton. Former Chief Conley dedicated his life to public service that included a broad range of public agencies and communities. He first served with the LA County Sheriff's Department, rising to rank of lieutenant, and worked in narcotics, served as an academy instructor, and coordinated the Los Angeles County Sheriff's first hostage negotiations team. Chief Conley brought this experience and leadership to the city of Chino, where he served as our community's police chief from August 10th, 1992 to December 29th, 1994. While he served different communities, his family expressed how much he enjoyed serving our community and helping guide our outstanding police department during a time of change and growth in our city. A celebration of life ceremony will be held on Saturday, October 1st at 11 o'clock at St. Cornelius Catholic Church in Long Beach, located at 5500 East Wardlow Road. Chief Conley will be missed, and we are grateful for the leadership and service he provided to our community. We're also adjourning in the memory of former San Bernardino County Assessor Recorder Bob Dutton, who passed away on July 23rd after a brave battle with cancer. Bob was undeniably dedicated to public service. He served as chairman and board member for numerous community and civic organizations and enjoyed an elected public service career that spanned over 20 years, where he was elected to serve on the Rancho Cucamonga City Council for 4.5 years before being elected to the State Assembly, and then eventually another 8 years in the California State Senate. As the state senator, Bob served on several committees and was the leader of the Senate Republican Caucus, vice chair of Rules Committee, vice chair of Budget and Fiscal Review Committee, and a member of other committees, including Appropriations. This is all prior to eventually serving over 2 million residents as assessor's recorder for San Bernardino County. On behalf of the city of Chino, we thank Chief Conley and Bob Dutton for their numerous years of service and send our prayers to the Conley and Dutton family during this very difficult time. Next, we have public comments. This is the time and the place for the general public to address the council about any item that's not on the agenda. The first item is our invocation, which is going to be led by Jared Caballero from Calvary Chapel, Chino Valley. If you'd please stand if you'd like to join us in the invocation.
Thank you, Mayor. Father, we just thank you for this evening, this time to gather, this time to plan and prepare for this city. We thank you for your hand upon this city, Lord, upon these leaders, Lord, these servants, Lord. And we just pray once again for your hand to be upon them, for you to lead them and give them wisdom and guidance, Lord, discernment and understanding, unity, Lord, and that your will would be done for this city, Lord. We lift up all the families, all the schools, businesses, Lord, so many public servants, Lord. And we pray for your peace. We pray for your strength. We pray for your safety and protection, Lord. And we just ask that you'd continue to allow this meeting to be fruitful tonight. And once again, that your will would be done and that you would draw us to yourself, Lord. We thank you. We love you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Jared. Okay. That's the only written request I have to speak on an item that is not on the agenda. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the council on an item that is not on the agenda? Okay, seeing none then. we will move on to our consent calendar. It's been noted already that we are going to be pulling item number 21 for a staff report. Do any council members wish to have any other items pulled?
I don't, I'll ask for a poll, but Madam Mayor, I'm going to abstain from item 9, but I'll be voting on the rest of it.
Okay, then I would ask for a motion and a second to approve the consent calendar. It's a motion from Councilperson Flores, second from Councilperson Comstock, and consent calendar passes unanimously with Councilperson Pocock abstaining on item number 9. Okay, item number 21 is being handled separately. We're going to ask for a staff report this evening, apparently from Amr Jafter.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. The item in front of you today is acceptance of Riverside Drive Street Rehabilitation and Traffic Signal Modification Project and 11th Street Storm Drain Project. On June 16th of 2020, City Council awarded a construction contract to Sully Miller Contracting Company in the amount of $6,197,250.50 for the Riverside Drive Street Rehabilitation and Traffic Signal Modification Project. The total cost with all the change orders was $6,836,056.09. The completed work includes reconstruction and overlay of entire street section on Riverside Avenue from Central Avenue to Oaks Avenue, pedestrian accessibility improvements including curb ramps, sidewalks, curb and gutter, traffic signal modifications at the intersections of Riverside Avenue at 10th Street, Benson Avenue, and Oaks Avenue, and storm drain improvements on 11th Street from Riverside Avenue to Chino Avenue. All improvements within the project scope have been successfully constructed. It was noted at the previous meeting that there was some rutting in the street. We are looking at that to address that. We believe we will be we would like to replace that with concrete. That's a separate project. That was not part of the scope of this project. There were also some missing sidewalks that were brought up during the scope of the project as we were scoping that. One of the things we looked at is how would we finish that segment of Riverside Avenue. That segment, as we discussed earlier today, is slated to be 6 lanes, three in each direction. We're looking as part of the general plan to look at see if we really need those 6 lanes. So one of the options would be to, in future, to relook at the segments in there and see if we can reduce portions of it so we can complete that segment. That there is a lot of need for sidewalk improvements in that area. Sidewalks are adjacent to curb and very narrow, and there are a lot of driveways there. So we would like to move the sidewalk back, put in parkways, and complete that section. So that would be part of the discussion as the general plan moves forward. With that, that's my staff report, and then I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Amr. Questions? Karen?
Mayor, I actually talked to the city manager about this report earlier today and requested that it be pulled for a staff report. Just for the general public's knowledge and for staff, I've talked about this before. One of the things that when we have something on the consent calendar, I look at it like it should be a report that we don't have any concerns with or any return work or things that we still owe the community or things that we have discovered have gone wrong with the project, and not the staff's fault in this particular case. When I read that, we have some slicking at some of the intersections, that we just repaved this area, and staff is coming up with some solutions to that. One of the areas I pointed out was Monte Vista eastbound. I'm sorry, Riverside Drive eastbound at Monte Vista, and a couple other areas where what Amr has explained is that the traffic from the trucks is already wearing on that roadway quite heavily. And I was wanting staff to explain to us how we would bring that project back, scoping it, potentially with the cost, as well as undeniably on Riverside Drive, I think you can state that if there's an area where people walk, not just because the students going back and forth to and from Chino High School, but you start picking up really heavy pedestrian traffic, probably just west of Central Avenue, out all the way to Benson, and staff exploring the idea of actually, connecting sidewalk. I know because of our general plan and what it calls for, how we bring those back, to the city in the future in order to correct some of those things. So there's, I think, a couple of ADA issues there, and just having an open discussion about how to get those back and fix them, as well as not making the same mistakes, because we're getting ready. I spoke with Amr earlier on Grand Avenue about some of the construction we're going to be doing down there. If we recognize, because trucks are impacting those roads so heavily, how do we get some of those solutions we discovered, or some of the problems that we discovered on Riverside Drive, implemented onto the Grand Avenue project? So those were my concerns, and I'm willing to listen to staff's feedback on that. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. So I've made a note that if there are issues with the project, we will not put it on consent. We will do a report to make sure that there is a complete understanding of what's remaining on the project. So that's a good point. Also, we are looking at Grand Avenue instead of putting asphalt back, putting concrete there as well. You're correct. There are issues with ADA, and I believe Riverside is a street that we should look at in the next few years to improve, especially that section right there, and bring in curb and gutter and sidewalk improvements, new traffic signals. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. Obviously, it requires doing traffic studies and working on the general plan side of things, getting that done. So we'll make a note of all of those things, and we'll bring it back to you as things are completed.
Thank you, Amr. And I know, Linda, we're working on improving in the future when we send things back to staff, like scheduling in order to get it back on the calendar, because so that we can make sure we're paying attention to those things. I suppose we can talk more in our one-on-one session about how to bring those calendar items back, not just for these, but others that we've sent back to staff in the past, so we can get them back in a timely manner.
Certainly.
Okay.
The other thing also that's going to be discussed with our general plan is, we have a very sawtooth edge down Riverside Drive, because at one time, a long time ago, it was thought that we would have, I think it was 6 lanes, which we'll never have. I mean, there are some buildings, historical buildings, that are right up to the edge of the sidewalks. We'll never tear those buildings down. So I believe along with our general plan amendment, we're also going to be looking at how do we correct some of that sawtooth area? What are we going to do about it to make it look better into the future? So we're going to have a lot of things to discuss moving forward.
It would be nice to really clean that up and make it look nice.
Yeah. Any other discussion items for this? Okay, then I would entertain a motion in a second for item number 21. Motion from Councilperson Flores, second from Mayor Pro Tem Lucio. Walt?
Try it.
Okay, and the item passes unanimously. Okay. Next, under public hearings, item number 23, appeal of Planning Commission action denying the campus at College Park. This item is PL 21-0004, site approval, and PL 21-0005, special conditional use permit, and PL 21-0028, tentative parcel map number 20348. First, I'd like to declare the public hearing open. Then I'd like to request a staff report from Nick Ligori, our Director of Development Services.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. The item before you tonight is the appeal of the Planning Commission's denial of a project commonly known as the campus at College Park, which includes 3 different entitlements. One is a site approval that would allow for the construction of 3 2-story buildings totaling 50,630 square feet of commercial, retail, office, and restaurant space, and a single-story 27,000 square foot community-scale church. Secondly, a special conditional use permit for the church. And thirdly, the approval of tentative parcel map number 20348, which is a request to subdivide the 7.5-acre lot into 2 parcels. The project includes the commercial center and church, as I previously explained. I have a slide that shows the proposed site plan. superimposed on the aerial showing the surrounding community. As you can see, this is in the College Park neighborhood. It's off of Oaks Avenue and Eucalyptus Avenue, backs up to Satterfield Way and Notre Dame Avenue. After extensive discussion and deliberation at the Planning Commission meeting, the Planning Commission denied the project, specifically failing to adopt any motion for or against approval of the project. So because no motion was passed, no findings were made, and no resolution was adopted. The applicant has appealed this denial to the City Council, which is why we are here tonight. Although the Planning Commission did not adopt a written resolution of findings, there's two primary concerns that were discussed during the Planning Commission's deliberations. One is the traffic safety around the site, and the second is the frontage improvements existing on the site and which party would be responsible for improving those. I'd like to start with the traffic concerns. Some of the issues raised were about the ability of Notre Dame Avenue to handle the project coming in and out of the site, because this is where the primary access points were designated. The College Park specific plan has some information regarding Eucalyptus Avenue. It has text that suggests that no specific development project should take access off of Eucalyptus Avenue. However, it also has a graphic representation of what this area referred to in the specific plan as the village center, what it might look like, and that graphic representation shows an access off of Eucalyptus Avenue. Originally, when working with staff, staff believed that to maintain traffic flows on Eucalyptus Avenue, a access was not advised. However, after going through the Planning Commission hearing and hearing from the church, the developer, who's the applicant, the Planning Commission, and members of the public, we felt that it may be appropriate to explore adding a access on Eucalyptus Avenue. And so before you tonight, one of the recommendations would be to modify the conditions of approval, condition of approval 2.7 from the engineering division that would allow for a drive approach on Eucalyptus Avenue. The second issue.
Nick, real quick, where would that be located?
So the drive approach is going to be right in here by the church.
Thank you.
The second issue that was discussed was the frontage improvements. So this lot was owned by LS College Park, which is the master developer for the entire College Park specific plan. This area was part of Phase 2 of College Park implementation, and as such, improvements were constructed by the master developer along the frontage roads, including Oaks, Eucalyptus, Satterfield, and Notre Dame Avenue. Those improvements today have not been accepted by the city because they are attached to the Phase 2 subdivision maps, and there are still currently bonds that the city holds for those improvements. Those improvements were constructed several years ago, and today some of them do not meet the city's requirements for primarily for accessibility along the sidewalk and the curb ramps. The City of Chino Municipal Code requires that for development projects, the developer is required to ensure that streets, curbs and gutters, sidewalks, and street lighting are installed along the development project's frontages in a manner that's acceptable to the city. And so originally, this project was conditioned to upgrade all of the adjacent street improvements surrounding the site to meet current requirements per that municipal code section. There is an exemption that is allowed under the municipal code where the council can modify those requirements in unusual circumstances. As noted in the applicant's appeal, there are circumstances, considerably the fact that the streets have not been accepted by the city and are still potentially remain the responsibility of LS College Park, as well as the city's holding bonds for some of these improvements, that would question whether or not the applicant is the appropriate entity to make modifications or improvements to the frontage. So in this appeal, staff is looking for direction from the council on 3 questions. One is, should the project be approved or denied, which the project otherwise meets all requirements of the city's general plan, College Park specific plan, and municipal code? Should a driveway approach be added to the project off of Eucalyptus Avenue, which after further analysis, staff has recommended? And third, should engineering conditions be revised to remove the requirement that the developer reconstruct existing non-ADA compliant improvements, or should this requirement remain in place? I have a blow-up of the site plan here, and as you can see, the proposed revision would add the entrance in front of the church off of Eucalyptus Avenue. Note that the median would stay, so it would be a right-in, right-out access only. And here's a rendering of what the church would look like, as well as the commercial center. So in conclusion, staff finds that the project meets all of the city requirements except for the discussion of the improvements, the frontage improvements, and would recommend that the council conduct a public hearing and adopt a resolution granting the appeal and thereby approving the site approval, special conditional use permit, and tentative parcel map, adding a condition of approval to provide for the driveway approach off of Eucalyptus Avenue, and thirdly, determine the scope of the frontage improvements for which the developer shall be responsible as part of the project and adopt revisions to the conditions of approval accordingly. That concludes my report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Nick. Next step would be, any council members have questions of staff prior to me inviting the applicant forward for a presentation? Okay, then I would like to, we do have a couple of written requests to speak, which I'll call on after. I asked if the applicant would like to address. Would you like to address the council?
Yes, please. Members of the City Council, after close to 3 years of effort, including a long, challenging period through the pandemic.
Excuse me, sir, can you state your name?
Yes, I will. My name is Henry Hong, and I'm a principal with the property owner. So we are pleased to present this project and have an opportunity to develop again in Chino. The subject property has sat vacant for years, despite the full residential build-out of the College Park community. The master developer and their marketing team had not been able to secure interest for a commercial development there due to its locational challenges. There was minimal interest from retailers, grocery stores, restaurants, and businesses due to the non-traditional location being far from the freeway and not on a major thoroughfare. Because I live 10 minutes away from College Park and I walk my dogs at Ayala Park, I knew that although challenging, it was possible to create a unique development. When we first purchased the property and started this process in 2019, we surveyed the market, looked at all the existing commercial developments in Chino, in an effort to figure out what's missing and if there's a gap that can be filled by the development at College Park. So guided by the College Park specific plan and informed by our market research, we decided to pursue a local neighborhood church that can act as our non-traditional anchor. And we designed the site with the intention that it become the living room of College Park where the community can get together. The church has a modest 3,800 square foot sanctuary and a 750 square foot chapel with additional space for fellowship, classrooms, and offices surrounding a central courtyard. On the commercial side, we continue the theme of e-commerce resistant tenancy with close to 16,000 square feet of food and beverage uses. And we're going to focus our efforts on service-oriented businesses for the rest of the space. We also plan to locate our IE office here in Building A of the project in Phase 1, so we will be here even after construction's been completed. So we're here today, as Nick mentioned, because the Planning Commission denied our project in a split decision with 3 planning commissioners voting yes and 4 planning commissioners voting no. There was no specific reasons provided for the denial, but we believe that some of the planning commissioners voted no because of an amendment we proposed to one of the conditions of approval relating to the compliance of the existing public improvements and ongoing disputes between the city and the master developer. Planning Commission Chairman Cisneros stated that he believed the Planning Commission did not have authority to make a decision on that issue and it would need to go to City Council. We have since worked with staff to resolve that issue, and the revised condition of approval recommended by staff today is the mutually agreeable outcome that reflects staff support for the project as well as our continued commitment to move this project forward. Since no specific reasons were provided for the Planning Commission denial, we've also worked with staff over the last couple of months to address all the issues and comments that were raised. Traffic is one of the main concerns that was brought up. We knew from our engagement early on with the community that traffic was a concern for some residents. We've already done our best to mitigate the total amount of traffic that will be generated by our project by thoughtfully curating the various land uses that will go on our site. The currently adopted project in the College Park specific plan is estimated to generate 6,006 daily two-way trips. Our proposed project is estimated to only generate 1,606 daily two-way trips. That's 4,400 less trips than what was previously anticipated for the site, more than 73% less. You might be wondering, what about the Sunday service traffic for the church? As mentioned, the sanctuary itself for the church is only 3,800 square feet. They're a modest neighborhood church and not a mega church. So although the church facilities are 27,000 square feet, the sanctuary portion for the Sunday service is actually a very small part of that. The peak times are opposite of the commercial and college peak times, making them the perfect fit to reduce overall traffic. Overall, we did not sacrifice traffic for economic feasibility. In fact, it was quite the opposite. We always had a balanced approach, and we purposely put together different uses with different traffic patterns. Due to the different peak times of the college, church, and commercial uses, the traffic should be more even flowing without the Monday through Friday rush hours. There was a specific concern with all the access to the project being on Notre Dame Avenue, as Nick pointed out in his staff report. We also shared that same concern, and we actually proposed a driveway on Eucalypt Avenue in our first 2 submittals. That driveway was removed in subsequent submittals at the request of staff due to its uncertain impacts to traffic and safety. However, we have now reinserted the driveway on Eucalyptus Avenue after working with staff and our traffic engineer over the last couple of months to study the impacts of the driveway on Eucalyptus Avenue and concluding that it should improve overall traffic flow. Pedestrian safety at the roundabout was another concern that we share with the community. However, the roundabout design and the safety issues are pre-existing and outside of the scope of our project. Having spent a lot of time and observing the roundabout, we do have some recommendations for improving safety that we believe the city may wish to implement as part of a future capital improvement project. Some of the items include one of the easiest things to do immediately would be to replace the existing shrubs and landscaping around the fountain, which will improve visibility significantly, replacing those with grass or other low-height vegetation. The existing landscaping is too high, and right when you enter the roundabout, you're blinded and you can't really see. It's difficult for drivers to see the pedestrians. The city can also install signage and/or paint street surfaces at locations before the entry into the roundabout to signal drivers to slow down. Radar speed signs may be a good option. These are the signs that flash your speed as you're driving past, and they've been known to be effective at slowing drivers down. The city can also enforce existing speed limits by having more patrol at certain times. City can also make the street narrower through the roundabout to reduce the speeds of the cars naturally, as well as install better lighting at the roundabout near the pedestrian crossings for better visibility at nighttime. Flashing lights at the crosswalks that pedestrians can trigger with a push button to alert drivers at night that somebody is crossing was suggested by David Fruin, who made a public comment at the Planning Commission hearing. Chaffey College had suggested moving the crosswalks further away from the roundabout in our discussions with them. So again, the roundabout design and safety issues are pre-existing and not caused by our project. So although we share the same concerns, we do not believe it should be grounds for denial of our project. The other main concern is with parking. We have spent a lot of time in the neighborhood, and we are aware that street parking fills up on Notre Dame Avenue and Satterfield Way. So we understand the desire of residents to ensure there's adequate parking. There will be no changes to the existing street parking, meaning this project will not reduce the current street parking stalls. Because the church site actually has 71 more parking spaces than what is required by code, the church has actually generously offered to share 28 of those parking spaces with the commercial site. And even with the shared parking, the total project will still have 44 more parking spaces than what is required. A specific concern was raised regarding students from Chaffey College parking on our site in order to avoid paying for parking permits. Since we were overparked, we actually thought it might be beneficial for the businesses at our project to have visits from the students before and after class. However, we did discuss this concern with Chaffey College after the Planning Commission hearing, and Chaffey told us that there has not been a history of student parking off campus in Chino. They recall that there were some minor incidents in the Rancho Cucamonga campus, but those issues were easily resolved after posting no student parking signs on the adjacent properties. We asked Chaffey if they would be willing to send notices to their students should any parking issues arise, and they responded by saying that they would be happy to cooperate to resolve any parking issues in the future, and they would be happy to send periodic notices to students as needed. So members of the City Council, as you can see, we have put a lot of thought and effort into this project that you see before you today. We have worked with staff since the Planning Commission hearing to ensure that all issues are addressed. We are happy with staff's revised conditions of approval, and we hope that you share our enthusiasm for this project and that we ask you for your yes vote to move this project forward. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Hong. Okay, I do have two written requests to speak. The first is Pastor Paul Schlitz. Pastor Paul, are you in the audience? There you are.
Thank you for the privilege of being able to speak to you guys. Appreciate the work that you do for our city, and I want you to know that our church has been in the community for over 100 years, 112 years. I've been there the entire time.
You have not. I know better than that.
In my relatively short tenure as the pastor, we were able to complete our arrangement with the Schaefer family, the family that the Schaefer Avenue is named after. They were part of our church. Our church has a long history, obviously, in this community. So we were able to complete that acquisition of that last bit of property, and thus give us that 7¼ acres of relatively undeveloped light industrial property. We like to be able to move out of that area. We like to be able to move into the community. We'd like to be able to make sure that the land that we have is used appropriately for the city and for the benefit of the city, and that we can move into a space in the city where we can minister to people that are already parts of our church. That area of the city fits our demographic as a church. We're pleased to be able to move there and to minister to the people there, and we're glad to be able to be generous with the use of our parking, with the retail side of the development. We like being a part of the city, and we want to be a continued positive part of the city to bring the gospel of Christ to our neighbors. We have been 112 years with no noise complaints. I don't think many people have that ability to say that. As far as the parking goes, as far as the neighborhood goes, as far as our attitude toward our neighbors, we would like you to approve this, and we would like to be able to move there. So thank you so much for the opportunity to address you. And lastly, just to say, we genuinely love our city, so appreciative of the pastors that have come here tonight from Living Word Assembly and from New Community also that are here. And we want to thank Nick LaGuari and the staff for working so thoughtfully with us. We want to thank our new city manager, Linda Reich, for implementing and facilitating that. And thank you all for being thoughtful and hearing us and considering our appeal. Thank you.
Thank you. Next written request to speak is Glenna Johnson.
Hi. I've been a resident of Chino for over 30 years. And most of my life I've spent as a Christian woman interested in promoting my beliefs for myself, my family. And in my life, I have found that whether it's a good thing that happens or it's a bad thing that happens, the first thing I do is call my biological family and spread that news. And the second thing I do is I call my church family and spread that news. Because if you've got multiple families, you have the ability to take anything that's bad happening in your life and spread that out and diversify it so you're not the only person carrying that burden. And if you have something good happening in your life, you have so many more people who can rejoice with you. And it's been a privilege to be able to speak on behalf of my church and to put in my 2 cents worth, if you will, acknowledging that this building, this project, is only minutes from my house. And I would be so very grateful to be able to continue to serve close to my home. Thank you for your time this evening. God bless.
Thank you. Those are the only 2 written requests I have to speak on this item. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to address the council? Come up, please, and give us your name. I whacked the microphone.
Hi, my name is Ben Fukakura. I'm a resident of Chino and a homeowner. I've been a resident for 6 years now, and I'm just more excited about the retail aspect, to be honest. It's something that our community, especially in that area, is heavily lacking. It's long overdue. It's just been a dirt parcel for a very long time, and I would like to see that develop to be more of a retail space. Everything else in the area is just industrial, which nothing wrong with industrial, but I think in order for our city to grow and expand, we need to start developing projects like this to add to the retail. And yeah, that's basically, I'm just coming from a resident's perspective, and I'd love to see this project happen.
Well, thank you very much for coming this evening. Anyone else in the audience? Sir, come on up.
City council members and residents of Chino. My name is Dennis, and I would like to share with you my 2 points on why I'm in support of this project. I moved to College Park about 10 years ago due to a troubled marriage, which eventually ended up in a divorce. To say that I was broken and wounded would be an understatement. In addition to the shame and the critique that a divorce just does to a person, I had to live my life not being able to see my 2 young, beautiful boys every day. Fortunately, I had 2 business partners who are my brothers in Christ that were able to support me and encourage me. But the most important thing that literally kept me going was the Word of God. I immersed myself in His promises, which allowed my heart to be ministered by Jesus. His unrelenting love, along with His bountiful mercy and grace, is a testament that I was able to encounter, experience, and share with you all today. Throughout my troubled times of despair and hopelessness, I felt the presence of God. Life literally almost killed me, but the love of God saved me. I have been blessed, and his blessings keep raining down on me. The church can and the church will provide a safe haven for those who are in need, whether it be physical, emotional, or spiritual. I assure you that having a church within the College Park would provide hope and blessings to the many generations to come. Secondly, as a resident of College Park myself, I'm looking forward to the amenities that was promised to me, that was promised to us almost a decade ago. As a future patron, I look forward to the restaurants and the establishments that this project will attract. As a previous business owner, I know that this project will bring much needed jobs. And I thank you in advance for your consideration and your approval of this project.
Thank you very much, Dennis. I saw another hand go up. Yes, sir.
Good evening, City Council. My name is Simon Chen. My parents and I, we moved to Chino 2 years ago. We're the resident and property owner in Chino. And in our impression that we always excited and want to see more restaurants, retails, amenities, more developments in this city. We should be as good as Chino Hills or Ranchos in the IE, not just be known as an industrial city. I don't have that many other reasons for it, but I just like to show my support for this project.
Thank you, Simon, and we're better than Chino Hills. How about that?
I like it.
Doggone it. Anyone else in the audience who would like to address the council on item 23? Okay, seeing none, then we'll close the public. Was there
one
someone
hand up.
else? Oh, come on up.
Hello, City Council. My name is Daniel. I'm a college pastor at the church, actually, and I've been a resident of Chino for 2 whole months, actually. I know, not a long history, but yeah, I just wanted to say, I mean, I've been to the past 2 City Council meetings, and it's been inspirational to actually see the Planning Commission and you guys as well as the City Council have so much heart for the community. And as a pastor here, placed here, like-minded, wanting to serve the community, it's quite inspirational. And I just wanted to say thank you for the extreme amount of time you guys place and to put in this appeal and every other appeal as well. I am in support of this project. As college pastor, I think placing a church there right next to Chafee is a great opportunity to minister to the students. And definitely the college students are in need of that, right? A community, especially Chafee, right? It's kind of a commuter school. They just leave and go, but having a community there and having some things and events there for them might spark their college life a bit and give them a little bit more of joy, and that's our hope too. And so that's all from me, but thank you guys so much.
Well, thank you for being here. Okay, anyone else? Okay, so we're going to close the public hearing. Council member comments.
I have a question. If I want to ask Henry a question, can I still ask him a question?
Sure. Henry, would you like to come up, please? Karen has a question for you.
In that case, I recommend, Mayor, that you reopen the public hearing. Yes.
Okay, Henry, come on up. We'll reopen the public hearing.
I have a question, too.
Go ahead, Paul. Want to go first? Yeah. Henry, could you please explain, I think this is a very innovative venture between, obviously, Pastor Paul's church and your business for the public so that they understand essentially what agreement that you're entering in so that the public can understand exactly what's happening with Pastor Paul's property as well as the development of the new church. Just give a brief overview of that for the sake of the public, please.
Sure. So the Gateway Carriage Church currently sits on about 7.3 acres on the corner of Schaefer and Oaks. and they've been there for a long time, as you know. The property is zoned light industrial, and it's relatively undeveloped at the moment. And our arrangement with the church is that we were going to reduce their footprint in the city from 7.3 acres to about half of that, to about 3.8 acres, move them into College Park, build them a brand-new facility, and we're going to develop the existing church site on Schaefer and Oaks. And due to the zoning difference between the two properties, there's some land value differences, and we're basically using the difference in the land values to be able to build the brand-new church for them in College Park. So it's kind of a creative land swap structure that we've come up with, and we believe that it's a win-win-win for the city, who's getting more land back for economic development, for the church, who's getting a brand-new facility, and for us as a developer to be able to facilitate the projects.
Thank you, Henry. I just wanted the community to understand that where Pastor Paul's church presently is, if this were to pass, would eventually be developed into light industrial, which is, it's a suitable use for it there, particularly in that location, as well as provide this church family with a new location, a new campus, a little bit more, I think, tucked into the community where it feels more actually connected, not just to the college, but also the members of College Park. So thank you for that. Thank you for that clarification.
Okay, Walt, you had a question also of Henry?
Yes. Previously, your only exit to the project was on Notre Dame in the rear. Now we're allowing an exit onto Eucalyptus, which will not dump all of your cars onto the residential street. What do you think the difference percentage-wise will be of cars coming out onto Eucalyptus versus on Notre Dame?
So based on our updated traffic study that we did after the planning commission hearing to include that additional driveway, we believe that about 30% of the traffic will be entering and exiting out of the Eucalyptus Avenue driveway.
Great. All right. Thank you. Thanks for that.
Okay, thank you, Henry. Any other questions of Henry? Mark?
Henry, I met with you and Pastor Paul, I believe it was on August 5th, and during our meeting, you brought up some issues that you thought that you shouldn't be responsible for, and some of the points that you brought out, has that all been worked out between the city, Lennar, and yourselves?
Yes, I believe staff's looking for direction, as Nick said, in tonight's city council vote. But the staff has worked with us closely in the last couple of months to come to an agreeable set of conditions where we are going to be building the new sidewalks along Eucalyptus Avenue, where none exist today. And we will also make compliant the new driveways that we're putting in, the sidewalks across those driveways, as well as any utility cuts that we'll be making at the property.
And all the other stuff has been worked out?
Yes.
As long as we come to a resolution tonight?
Yeah, if you adopt the revised conditions of approval as recommended by staff, then they will resolve all of those issues.
Okay.
No? Okay, thank you, Henry. All right, I'm going to close the public hearing again. Okay. Any additional comments from council members?
Yes.
Mark?
Well, you know what, first, I just want to thank staff, Linda, Nick, thank you for getting together with Henry and with Pastor Paul and working out the differences that we had. This project, I lived just outside of College Park, now I live in College Park. But ever since we've lived in that community, we've always been waiting for this shopping center to come in and somewhere for us. We do a lot of walking from our house to the park. We see a lot of people walking in the park. There's a lot of soccer that's played at the park, the college, but there's nowhere for anybody to go eat. And we know that although it's not an ideal location because it's not on a main street, we know it'll work because the community wants it, the school wants it, and the people that go to the park want it. So I thank you for moving this project forward and for bringing this to us. I'm thankful that we were able to work out the differences to make sure that this project happens. And I really look forward to this moving forward, not just for the church, but also for the community that's really wanted it for a long time. And I will say this, this council chamber doesn't normally get this crowded for an item that comes up on the agenda, so I thank you all for showing up and showing us that you're passionate about this. And you're definitely, the numbers that showed up, you're definitely the most calm crowd that we've had whenever we have a large crowd, and I thank you for that as well. I have nothing further. Thank you.
It's because they have faith. Chris, any comments?
I just have a question for staff. There's existing non-ADA compliant improvements in the, in this area. What are the conversations like with Lennar? Are there any solutions there?
Well, we're still negotiating with Lennar on the disposition of all of the non-compliant improvements in the entirety of College Park. So as you can imagine, there's a lot of streets, a lot of curb ramps, a lot of linear feet of sidewalk that staff is currently negotiating with Lennar to get to a final resolution on the completion, the acceptance, and remediation of those facilities.
Okay, thank you. And to the church and to the project, I just want to say I've met with Pastor Paul a few times, and one interesting, I'm gonna butcher this, so maybe you can jump in and help me out here, Pastor Paul. But one thing that's amazing about the church is that there's about, I don't know, 5 or 6 5 different languages that are spoken at this church. And I mean, if you're listening to this right now, you try to do some research on what languages those are, and just understanding the cultures that are at play here. It's quite amazing the work God is doing in this community and at your church as well. So to the developer and to the church, thank you guys for bringing this project forward. And as Mayor Pro Tem Mark Lucille mentioned, this part of the community has been looking for something like this for a very long time, and it's here. So I see the smiles on your guys' faces, so we'll see what happens, I guess, at the end of this vote. Yeah.
Karen, any other comments?
I do. Mayor, I actually attended the Planning Commission meeting the night this was on the agenda, and I think some of the concerns that were expressed and really debated amongst the Planning Commissioners themselves were about these compliance requirements that are surrounding this project, as well as traffic into the traffic circle itself. And I think the commission, in wanting to do the right thing, just struggled with understanding how to best resolve some of these things. I also had the opportunity to meet with Mr. Hong and Pastor Paul and listen to their concerns. I do share their same perspective in that these ADA or these compliance issues outside of the scope of their project do fall to the master developer and the city to resolve these issues, as well as the traffic concerns about the traffic circle. And I've already shared my concerns with the city manager about the same things that were discussed in that planning commission meeting that night: the volume, the visibility, and how do we resolve issues with that traffic circle moving forward, because there are traffic concerns into that circle. But I also share the perspective that that's outside of this development's purview, that was a pre-existing condition, and that we as a city should work as we move forward to resolve and mitigate those issues. And some of those, Nick, were not just volume, but how to get bicycles through there into that traffic circle, things I thought Dennis did a great job explaining that night. I don't think those issues are resolved for that portion of our community here. I think there's still work there to be done, but I think that's something that we should explore as a city, maybe in conjunction with Chaffey College moving forward, seek other remedies to that. But if we don't correct some of those issues, I think they will worsen over time, not just with this project, but as Chaffey College continues to expand. Because that was discussed that night at the Planning Commission meeting with the expansion at Chaffey College, more students, more cars, and how to bring pedestrians, bicycles, and cars together in that area to service in the most efficient manner moving forward. So I just wanted to share that as well. I do want to thank staff, quite frankly, for getting with the applicant and coming to recommending some of these compromises, making some amendments to the project. Because let's face it, the residents that are here tonight, they're clamoring for their commodities and for their local church in this area. And I think there's been a lot of work done for us to say, hey, let's take responsibility for some of these things to the master developer as a city, which I think is always nice. Thank you, staff, for doing that. Let's work to make the improvements to that traffic circle, and while delivering a product that some of our residents down there have really been looking forward to for a long time. And not just our residents, but the visitors to that college. There's not very many food amenities at Chaffey College, as well as we have over 1 million visitors per year, according to our city manager, to Ayala Park during a normal season pre-COVID. And now they will have something to go to over there versus having to go down the street or to other locations in order to enjoy their amenities while visiting Ayala Park. So thank you very much for everybody that worked on it, and thank you to the community for coming out and expressing your support and your concerns. Thank you, Mayor.
Walt?
Well, I want to thank staff for helping mitigate those conditions of approval to allow this fellow to develop the project. I know that took a lot of work. And also, I'd like to say that the Planning Commission is not authorized to change certain conditions of approval. So this is the only way it could have worked out, was if it didn't get past the Planning Commission, that it had to come here, and the Planning Commission did not have the authorization to change those conditions. Thank you.
And since Walt sat on the Planning Commission for over 20 years, he knows what he's talking about, which is a good thing. I, too, want to thank all the hard work that went into this. Henry did a great job. When I first met with Pastor Paul and Henry was quite feisty, very strong. But I think a lot of times developers, when they come up to problems, don't have willing ears that will listen. And I think probably you found that talking to council members and staff was probably, I hope, a good experience for you. Pastor Paul, we talked about this a long time ago, this project, and your excitement about it, and the struggle with the old property, and everything that you've been through, and the church has been there for a long time, and you have not been there that long. No. And I know that because I knew Pastor Thrush. But I'm glad that this came. It's strange, the gentleman mentioned going through good and bad. Well, sometimes the bad ends up bringing up the good. So if this item had not been rejected by the Planning Commission, then the council wouldn't have had an opportunity to get involved in this, and staff wouldn't have had an opportunity either to put a different hat on and look at projects a little bit differently. We do have ADA problems throughout our community, and we've been struggling with those for a long time. And this particular project has helped us move our resolution forward a bit more. And it's been difficult. It's difficult politically, and it's difficult for staff. As you can imagine, to bring bad news to your bosses, so to speak, is never a good thing. But I think this process will help us move forward as well. I think the church is going to be phenomenally successful. And for years, I've always said that I think Chino has more churches in it than any other community in San Bernardino County. And I'm really proud of that. I've been proud of it forever. And I think that's another thing that makes our community so special, is that we have God-fearing people. God-fearing people bring peace to a community and bring a goodness that sometimes you don't find elsewhere. So I think the church is going to be phenomenally successful there. I think your center, I want to compliment you on the thought process, Henry, that you put into how you design it and what you're going to bring to that center. It's not just about making money, but it's about a balance. And we need that kind of a balance in that area, especially as you've heard the council members talk about the need at Ayala Park and, the residents that you need also, the amenities. So I think it's going to be a great project. I poured through this staff report and met with Linda and yellow highlighted and underlined things and was willing to go to war and didn't have to. So I think this project will be approved as has been recommended, and I think it's all going to work out in a fabulous way for everyone. So I would like to entertain a motion and a second to approve the 3 recommendations, with the applicant only being responsible for the things that are directly involved in his development and not the non-compliant ADA issues. There were 3 items. I believe the project should be approved, that there should be a driveway, and that the applicant, that approval of items 2.7 and 2.8 be revised and removed from the requirement that the guest builder reconstruct the existing non-ADA compliant improvements. And with that, I would like to ask for a motion and a second.
I'm gonna make the motion, Mayor.
Well, my screen doesn't show it yet.
And just for clarification, you're moving staff's recommendation.
Yes, but item number 3 had to be clarified, okay? So there is a motion from Councilman Flores and a second from Mayor Pro Tem Lucio. And the item passes unanimously. Congratulations.
Mayor, before we leave, I have a question for you.
Yes.
How do we, before we leave this subject altogether, Linda, how do we bring the concerns back about the traffic circle and different things with staff and Dennis moving forward? I realize we've worked out a solution with the compliance issues. How about the concerns expressed by it wasn't just the planning commission, it was also residents of College Park, as well as other people who just personally spoke about that. How do we move forward?
Let me interject real quick. Traditionally, what happens is staff has taken all this direction. They'll resolve those issues. It doesn't have to come back to us. Now, staff can inform us of what's going on, but it does not need to come back to us for any kind of approval.
Okay, so how will we know what staff decides to do down there?
We've taken note of what was said. Mr. Hong had some really good suggestions. We can take it to the TAC and get it resolved.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. Okay, we're going to move on to item number 24. I'd like to ask everyone, when you move out, to please shut the doors. It gets a little loud. Annexation to the Lighting and Landscape District for the Chino Valley Unified School District's Administration Office Project at 13461 Ramona Avenue, PL 20-0026. I'd like to ask for a staff report from Jesus Plasencia, our Assistant City Engineer. But first, I'll declare the public hearing open. Jesus?
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. On April 19, 2021, the Planning Commission approved the construction of a proposed 2-story administrative office building for the Chino Valley Unified School District at 13461 Ramona Avenue. The conditions of approval for the project require the construction of public improvements along the property frontage, including the installation of 1 new streetlight on the east side of Ramona at the intersection with Dahlia Road. The conditions of approval also require the owner to annex the property into the city's landscape and lighting district to levy an annual assessment for the maintenance of the new streetlight. There are 2 steps to annexing a property into the city's landscape and lighting district. The first step was completed on June 7, 2022, when the City Council approved resolution number 2022-031. This resolution declared the city's intention to annex the property into the landscaping lighting district and also approved the engineer's report, which estimates the annual assessment to be levied for the streetlight maintenance. The second step in the process is conducting the public hearing tonight. The owner has filed the required petition to be annexed into the landscape and lighting district and also filed an assessment ballot in favor of the annexation with the city clerk. The annual assessment for the new streetlight is estimated to be $181.95 for the first year. However, the actual assessment will be based on actual costs, which is subject to change annually to account for maintenance and energy costs changes up to the annual consumer price index for the region. Therefore, city staff recommends that the City Council approve resolution number 2022-055, ordering the annexation of PL 20-0026 into the landscape and lighting district number 2002-1, zone 90. That concludes my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Jesus. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the council on this issue? Okay, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Comments from council or questions? None? Then I would entertain a motion in a second, please. Motion from Councilperson Comstock, second from Mayor Pro Tem Lucio. Item passes unanimously. Item number 25, annexation to the Lighting and Landscape District for the, is it Alair?
Alair?
Alair.
Yeah.
Property Group's warehouse and commercial buildings at East End Avenue and County Road, PL 19-0086. Again, our staff report will be provided by Jesus. I'd like to declare the public hearing open.
Thank you, Mayor. On June 15, 2020, the Planning Commission approved the construction of 4 industrial buildings proposed by Alair Property Group LLC on the properties located at the northwest and northeast corners of East End Avenue and County Road. The conditions of approval for the project require the construction of public improvements along the property frontage, including the installation of 12 new streetlights, 5 proposed on County Road and 7 proposed on East End Avenue. The conditions of approval also require the owner to annex the property into the city's landscape and lighting district to levy an annual assessment for the maintenance of the new streetlights. And as I mentioned in my previous report, there's 2 steps to annexing a property into the city's landscape and lighting district. The first step was completed on July 5th, 2022, when the City Council approved resolution number 2022-38. And this resolution declared the city's intention to annex the property into the landscape and lighting district, and also approved the engineer's report, which estimates the annual assessment to be levied for the streetlight maintenance. Once again, the second step in the process is conducting the public hearing tonight. The owner has filed the required petition to be annexed into the landscape and lighting district, and also filed an assessment ballot in favor of the annexation with the city clerk. The annual assessment for the new streetlights is estimated to be $462.30 for the first year. The actual assessment will be based on actual costs, which is subject to change annually to account for maintenance and energy cost changes up to the annual consumer price index for the region. Therefore, city staff recommends that the council approve resolution number 2022-053, ordering the annexation of PL 19-0086 into the landscape and lighting district number 2002-1, zone 93. That concludes my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the council on this item? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Any comments or questions from council members? Then I would entertain a motion in a second. Motion from Mayor Pro Tem Lucio, second from Councilperson Flores, and that item passes unanimously. Under new business, item number 26, purchase order police and administration vehicles. This is to approve a purchase order to National Auto Fleet Group, Watsonville, California, in the amount of $401,167.15 for the purchase of 7 vehicles for the police and administration departments. Staff report this evening will be provided by David McAbee, our Public Works Services Manager.
Good evening, Mayor and members of City Council. The Fleet Division of the Public Works Department is responsible for the maintenance, repair, and replacement of all city vehicles and equipment. The approved fiscal year 22-23 budget includes funds for the replacement of 5 police patrol vehicles due to mechanical conditions and depreciation. Additionally, the approved current fiscal year budget includes funds for the purchase of 2 new vehicles assigned to the police and administration departments. These vehicles will be in addition to the city's fleet, 1 police patrol vehicle and 1 transit van to be utilized by the Channel 3 crew. Specifications and bid packages were prepared for 7 vehicles. On May 24th, 2022, bid notices were published on Planet Bids and broadcasted to 58 dealerships, including MK Smith Chevrolet and Chino Hills Ford. On June 7th, 2022, the city received no bids for this solicitation. Therefore, staff reached out to the National Auto Fleet Group of Watsonville, California, and requested pricing utilizing the National Joint Powers Alliance Sourcewell. The city's purchasing ordinance allows staff to take advantage of competitive bids awarded to contractors and vendors by other public agencies. This process has been utilized previously to purchase a variety of products and services used throughout the city. Therefore, staff recommends that City Council approve a purchase order to National Auto Fleet Group, Watsonville, California, in the amount of $401,167.15 for the purchase of 7 vehicles. That concludes my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Dave. Questions of staff or comments? Walt?
No, I don't.
No? Okay, anyone, any questions? Then I would entertain a motion in a second. Motion from Councilperson Flores, second by Mayor Pro Tem Lucio. Come on. And the item passes unanimously. Item number 27, approval of bond documents for special tax bonds for Community Facilities District Number 2003-3, Improvement Area Number 9. This is to adopt Resolution 2022-059 of the City Council of the City of Chino, acting as the legislative body for Community Facilities District Number 2003-3, Improvement Area Number 9 of the City of Chino, also called the District, approving the issuance of bonds and the substantially final forms of the preliminary official statement, fiscal agent agreement, bond purchase agreement, continuing disclosure agreement, and the appraisal report, collectively known as the bond documents. Staff report this evening will be provided by Nadine Lowry, our Fiscal Services Manager.
Good evening, Mayor and members of City Council. The City of Chino formed Community Facilities District 2003-3 Improvement Area 9 in January of 2021 for the purpose of issuing bonds to pay for infrastructure needed to service the properties within the improvement area. The properties in question are located in the preserve. Improvement Area 9 is now ready and eligible to issue the bonds. Therefore, tonight we are seeking approval of Resolution 22-059, authorizing the issuance of special tax bond of the district and approving the substantially final forms, which include all of the documents you just mentioned: the preliminary official statement, the fiscal agent agreement, the bond purchase agreement, the continuing disclosure agreement, the absorption report, and the appraisal report. It is anticipated that the $34 million in bonds will be sold later this month for the purpose of reimbursing the developer for infrastructure related to various housing projects within that area. That concludes my report, and I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, Nadine. Any questions of staff or comments? Seeing none, then I'd entertain a motion in a second, please, for item number 27. Motion from Mayor Pro Tem Lucio, second from Councilperson Comstock. The item passes unanimously. Item number 28, notice of completion, Ayala Park Improvements, Phase 1A. This is to accept the Ayala Park Improvements North Parking Lot, Picnic Pavilion, and Accessibility Project Phase 1A completed by Classic Engineering and Construction Incorporated, Orange, California, as complete. Staff report this evening will be provided by our Assistant Project Coordinator, Keith Martinez.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of the City Council. On October 5th, 2021, City Council approved a construction contract to Classic Engineering and Construction, Inc., Orange, California, in the amount of $1,254,206, including an approved construction contingency in the amount of $125,420 for the Ayala Park Improvements North Parking Lot, Picnic Pavilion, and Accessibility Project Phase 1A. During construction, the project experienced numerous delays due to material shortages such as concrete and conduit, supply chain issues and extended lead times for park amenities, inclement weather, and 2 unforeseen underground high-voltage electrical ducts. In addition, there were multiple change orders for this project, with the majority of the costs associated with inclement weather. Remaining approved change orders included additional landscape, electrical, and unforeseen high-voltage electrical ducts totaling $325,677.89, which required an additional appropriation of $130,638.08 from the Park Fund. On June 7, 2022, the city submitted a notice of cure to Classic Engineering and Construction claiming deficiencies throughout the project. Classic Engineering has remediated these deficiencies and has satisfactorily completed all work complying with the terms of the contract and the notice of cure. At this time, staff is requesting City Council to accept the Ayala Park Improvements North Parking Lot, Picnic Pavilion, and Accessibility Project Phase 1A as complete by Classic Engineering and Construction, Inc., and authorize the city manager to file the notice of completion and release the retention funds following the 35-day lien period. That concludes my report. I would be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Keith. Questions or comments? It's good that this project is finally over.
Oh,
Took way too long and cost too much money, but it's done. Okay, motion and a second, please. Motion from Mayor Pro Tem Lucio, second from Councilmember Flores, and the item passes unanimously. Next item on the agenda is mayor and council reports, and we were dark for like 7 weeks. And while it's supposed to be a time of vacation, please be assured it was not. And I have a multiple page list of things that I did during that time, and I'm not gonna read them. So it's been a long night already, even though it's not that late. Notable things though were, oh my gosh, meetings about the state of the city address coming up, normal WFA meetings and CDA meetings. Meeting with Sitka, met with individual council members, did a ribbon cutting with Accelerated Urgent Care. We had our workshop on the Civic Center Master Plan, Preferred Alternative. Met with Director Steve Eli from IEUA about water and sewer issues. Met with David Denisan from Chick-fil-A on various issues. Went to National Night Out, which was phenomenal. That was really good. And Wes has a way of chauffeuring you around where you go to as many spots as possible. So that was fun. Filmed some of the mayor's messages. Met with Linda several times, went to a BIA Southern California Water Conference. Also attended the West End Mayor's Roundtable. You'll find this interesting. Jeff Burham spoke about the county, or about their idea to create a separate state with San Bernardino County. And I don't know whether they're really going to push this or not, but the real underlying reason is because San Bernardino County has been very shortchanged by the state of California. Our courts are unfunded, the judges are unfunded. You know, the unfunded mandates that have come down that have just been absolutely ridiculous. So their hope is to put enough pressure on the state of California where maybe we'll get some of the funding that we deserve in our area. But he is starting a political action committee that may be titled Locals for Fairness and Equity. He's also putting information on Facebook and Twitter. So I'm not going to give his phone number out publicly, but he said anybody can call him on information. If you're interested, let me know and I'll give you his phone number. But it's been an interesting, almost 7 weeks, but it was no vacation, trust me. With that, I will pass it on, Mayor Pro Tem Lucio.
I'll also just cover some highlights. Went to the Chino National Night Out. It was the first time I went out to the preserve, to a couple locations there. They really do have a great turnout down there. The Civic Center Master Plan project that we had, obviously meeting with Pastor Paul and Henry Hong, meeting with the Viramontes family, concert in the park at the preserve, and a meeting with the Chino Valley Unified School District regarding a potential charter school that might be trying to locate in College Park. Candidate forum, because as you know, it's election time. And then a candidate forum that we did at College Park, which had a really good turnout. And then we had the workshop today regarding the streets and the preserve, and then obviously the police substation that we're looking at building to service College Park and the preserve. 7 weeks off, so I did get a chance to go to the river. Wasn't that great? My boat broke down, so we didn't have as much fun as we were planning on having. Did go to Nashville with my wife. That was fun. One thing that's coming up, it was always celebrated before my mother's birthday, but it just so happens to land on 9/11. So obviously 9/11, just a remembrance of the people that passed away due to the terrorist attack that happened in New York. I never want to end without acknowledging the loss that our country suffered that day. But with that, I just want to thank staff for really coming together and taking a I guess, the common sense approach to trying to figure out what we can do to move this project forward, because the community really, really wanted it there in College Park. I appreciate the fact that you guys went in there and you saw that although our policy was written a certain way, that we could look at something different. So I really appreciate that you guys met with them, came down to a resolution, and got this thing worked out. That's really the way I always envision that you guys work with these developers and small businesses. Because at the end of the day, when you bring this project, you're making the life of the community better. And that project's really going to be enjoyed by a lot of people. So I really, really thank you guys for your hard work. And that's all I have.
Okay, Councilmember Comstock.
Mayor, I'm going to keep my comments short as well. Many of the events that have been mentioned here tonight, I attended as well. But two that I will add is the swearing-in ceremony for our new city manager, Linda Reich, that I attended this month as well. And then the Chino Valley Chamber of Commerce dinner, recognition dinner. It was a good night. The chamber is really coming a long way and doing good things. It's always nice to see the chamber doing good work in the Chino Valley. I just want to close tonight. September 11th is Patriots Day. It is, thank you for making those comments, Mayor Pro Tem. It's also the day I closed escrow in my house, so I think it's somehow appropriate that on Patriots Day, I closed escrow in my home, back here in Chino, so I'm grateful. A lot of great things happened here tonight, Mayor, including all the people that we celebrated, the businesses, the Mayor's Home Beautification. We're adjourning, obviously, in honor of our former assessor, Mr. Dutton, and Chief Connolly. He was a great chief of police. He was also highly involved, if you know, in boxing. And he always had a good story to tell you when you were going up and down the hallway. I really enjoyed working for Chief Connolly. He was a great man, and he's certainly going to be missed by his law enforcement family. And I just also want to thank staff for using a common sense approach, like it's already been mentioned here tonight, to advance that project. I think a lot of good things happened here tonight. It was a really good meeting. So thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Flores.
Yeah, well, I'll jump on the train. I'll keep my comments short. One highlight was National Night Out, and you mentioned that Wes was a good driver. Mayor Eunice, you should try driving around with Captain Menson. I think you'll have an even better time. I think my highlight of that day was we were walking out of the facility, and our chief and the mayor were walking into the car, and the chief very politely and very respectfully opened the door for the mayor, and Captain Manson looked at me and said, "Mr. Flores, I'm not going to be opening that door for you." All right? I said, "No problem, Captain Manson." I went around and opened his door. So, not kidding. But with that, it has been a long month and a half or so since we've seen the community, been to a council meeting. So, just welcome back, and it's time to get back to work as a council, as a city. And thank you to our staff for their hard work. And let's keep the ball rolling.
Okay. Councilmember Pocock.
Oh, thank you. I attended National Night Out also, and it was awesome. It's a great community event and a great get-together, and everybody's happy, and I love it. And I love being able to talk to the people in their neighborhood and eye to eye, and you really get some good straight-out stories then. I went to the swearing-in of our new city manager, Linda, which is great. Chamber of Commerce board meeting, Mayor's Prayer Breakfast, and I went to the Chamber Business Recognition Dinner, and I received an outstanding, a great award, a wonderful award, Outstanding Citizen of City of Chino. I'm so proud. Thank you. That concludes my report. Thank you.
City Manager Reich.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. Since you're all being so quiet, it's only 9:05. I think we all thought it would be 10 or 11 before we got out of here. I have unofficially been doing the job for 2.5 months, and officially almost 1 month. And I just like to say how much fun I have had working more closely with the council. I really enjoy that. But I especially enjoy working more closely with our amazing City of Chino team, and I look forward to us collectively taking this city forward. So thank you.
You're welcome. Attorney Galante.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. I know we provide you periodic updates. There's new legislation. I seem to always report about housing legislation, but this one I think is of interest to, or would be of interest to this council, that this California legislature passed two bills, Senate Bill 6 and Assembly Bill 2011, that essentially allow residential development within commercial zones. So despite what the city, what the particular city, their intentions are for designating property within certain land use areas such as commercial, office, retail, or parking, this bill would allow residential to go in. There are a lot of conditions under the bills, under Senate Bill 6. There has to be payment of prevailing wages if a developer wants to pursue this, and the density would be fairly high, between 15 to 30 units per acre. Under AB 2011, the developer would have to build a significant portion of affordable housing, and there are various criteria of determining that, but it's now awaiting the governor's signature, so these bills keep coming through without, it seems, without real regard for a city's general plan and zoning opinions. So thought I would reference that, and not to end on a sour note, but we will keep tracking those bills and report back.
Well, it's very obvious that our current legislature has no regard for local control at all, that they want to be able to take away local control so that the local citizens and local elected officials have no control of everything over what happens at all.
Beyond that, I'd want to just congratulate our new city manager on her first council meeting. So happy to work with her. Thank you. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thanks for the good news, Fred. Oh, Chief West.
Imagine your neighbor starting up.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. I want to just reiterate my gratitude for your support for National Night Out. The fact that this council goes dark to participate in that event, I think, is a testament to your commitment to this community and our personnel. We had over 70 police department personnel and police explorers involved in that, along with our partners at Chino Valley Fire. So we want to thank you for joining us on that night. It was a great night. 8 different teams, 14 different locations, and yes, we were going all around the city. And Councilmember Flores, as soon as you've served as long as Mayor Ullo, I will open your door. The other thing I wanted to mention is we have our Fall Community Academy coming up. This starts on September 15th and goes through November 17th. If you hadn't had an opportunity for our community to attend this, it's a 10-week session. You get a behind-the-scenes look at the police department, including a ride-along with our police officers, a sit-along and dispatch, some training on our FAT simulator, which is our firearms training simulator. It's a great event, and encourage the community to come out and join us on that. Thursday nights from 6 to 9 p.m. starting September 15th. You can register on our social media if you're interested. So that's all I have. I agree.
About a rush, scary stuff, even though you know it's not real. It's a fantastic class. How are you advertising it?
Through our social media.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Chief Williams.
Mayor, council, well, the camaraderie and the bantering has to continue. Chief Simmons, thank you very much for the continued support and partnership. Councilmember Flores, if you want me to open the door, you come right on with the fire department. We'll treat you right. We'll get you ice cream too. The only thing I want to say is last year we had our 20-year 9/11 ceremony, and not all of you, if not most of you, showed up, and obviously it was a 20-year. I did want to extend the invitation again this year. It's going to go back to sort of a more smaller event, just due to the fact that it's not the 20-year, but it's over at our Station 6 on the corner of Grand and Peyton. So all community members are welcome. The Pipes and Rums will be there. That's a big attraction for many. And so you're certainly welcome to come out and join us. It'll be early morning it's a Sunday, so happy birthday to your mom. It's a Sunday this year, but we'll be there, and we'll be put on about a 30-minute ceremony in the morning. And
What
that's all I
time
have.
is it going to be, Dave?
I'm sorry, what's that?
Time?
Let me check into that, and I'll get that to you. I want to say it's at 9 o'clock. I think historically, we've tried to do it at the time that the towers went down. There, I think it puts it about 9 o'clock our time.
Okay.
So, but I will make sure that, your city manager has that information and can disseminate it.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, with that, we are going to be adjourning again in the memory of Assessor Bob Dutton and former Police Chief Pat Conley. He was such a good guy. It was so much fun, and he was a wonderful man. And yeah, his stories about his boxing adventures were very entertaining.
Very colorful.
Yes, so with that, we will adjourn to our next regular meeting, which will be September 20th at 7 o'clock with a closed session at 6 if necessary. We are adjourned.